Thank you for joining us for this edition of David's Question of the Week, presented by NM Fiber Network. As New Mexico's statewide middle mile backbone, we're committed to keeping you informed about the technologies, opportunities, and challenges shaping connectivity. Here's this week's question.
So middle mile is a term that a lot of people are getting more acquainted with, especially because of all the funding that's been made available to the U.S. Middle mile and last mile are actually different names for different portions of the circuit or the service that companies order. So the last mile is the portion that your local telco, in this case a member company of NM Fiber Network or any other local telco, that's the portion that gets from their central office, their location, out to your address. So in our areas, a good example would be, say, the municipal schools of Dexter or Hagerman in rural America, or Tatum, New Mexico. We serve as the last mile for those locations, and for any other customers, municipalities, anchor institutions, things like that. We're considered the last mile, or the portion that bridges the gap between the municipality, the school, and the rest of the world. Middle mile is the network that your local provider hands off to get it out to where it needs to go. And that could be a nebulous term, but literally it's the World Wide Web. It's what gives them access to the rest of the network in the US, globally. That's considered your middle mile. Now for NM Fiber Network is the middle mile for New Mexico when it comes to 𝗬𝗀, for example, or any of our member companies that make up NM Fiber Network. And the great thing about that is that whereas other providers, other last mile providers might connect to a middle mile network in one way, shape, or form, your NM Fiber Network members connect to the network natively. All that means is that there's a lot less in between a 𝗬𝗀 or a member company like PBT or Yucca or Tularosa or any one of our members. There's a lot less traffic that they need to get through to a middle mile network, and then to get to where your communications and your broadband needs to get to. Say if you're an anchor institution or a bank, there's a lot less to traverse because we're more native. That's one of the bigger strengths of NM Fiber Network, is that because we're owned by the membership, all the telcos, the ILECs that provide the service already natively. For example, we've been doing it since 1954. PBT's been doing it since before that. Yucca, all of the member companies have been providing broadband and telecommunications services in rural New Mexico for a very long time, decades. And what we've done now is we've harnessed the power of that interconnectivity, and we're acting as cooperatives and created that NM Fiber Network middle mile portion of it that allows for all of our last mile customers, like in our example that we were using, a school in Dexter or Tatum, New Mexico, to connect to where they need to go easier, more efficiently, and with added redundancies and added protections, to allow for stability and reliability.
Connection fuels opportunity, and at NM Fiber Network, we're building the backbone that makes that possible. Thanks for joining us for David's Question of the Week. Till next time, stay connected, stay curious, and for more information, go now to nmfibernetwork.com.